Hello,
Final.
sports fans. This is the Sellout Sports special edition NBA Finals Game 1 reaction. I'm Tori Rich. That's Mike Mawson. This is Mike Mawson's apartment, like old times for all of you that listen to the podcast. This is where we do it. But this is the first time you're going to see our beautiful faces. The guy with the beard is Jake Rich, my little brother. And the man down there is Parker Rush. Welcome. Guys, the Celtics ride a big first quarter, 37-20 in the first quarter, and basically hold serve from there. Get a little close in the third quarter, but huge first half from Kristaps Porzingis. I think that's the story of the night, that he's okay, that he logged serious minutes. And then Jalen, things got a little close in the third quarter. Mavs brought it down to 8. It looked like Luka might start to cook a little bit, never really came to fruition. And then Jaylen Brown kind of took over late third quarter from then on. I'll hand it off to Mike. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, you mentioned Kristaps. I was really surprised. You asked me before the game, we watched it together, about how many minutes you can expect from Kristaps. I told Tori I expected 4-minute runs from him. The Celtics were kind of even keel in the first part of that first quarter. Kristaps obviously comes off the bench. He comes in at the 7:17 mark and he plays the entire quarter, which I just thought was crazy. The Celtics benefited from a 14-3 run during that stretch. Kristaps looked really good. Although he didn't look like, you'll hear that he was very good the whole time. The first couple defensive possessions, I was really nervous about him. He was sagging, he was drop coveraging. He didn't look incredibly healthy. I think once he saw the ball go in the basket, he looked good though.
There was like for us, like while we were watching it, we were a little nervous. Like, yeah, he looks tentative. He looks like maybe he's
Yeah, he
still
looked like
worried about
somebody
it.
that had taken
And
over a month off.
but it happened fast, the transformation, and then he
Yeah,
like
so the Mavs call a timeout to try to halt the Celtics run, 14-3 run, 5 minutes in. So I didn't expect Kristaps to come back in, but I think that break allowed him to come back out, and I think Mazzulla just didn't want to take him out because of the run. And then the Celtics really take control of the game in those final 2 minutes. You got those three threes. Kristaps had one.
yeah, they come out of the timeout, 28-18 at the timeout. They get a bucket. 30, yeah, what was it? Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they extended it 7 more points by the end of the quarter. So
So the yeah, like 3 threes in 48 seconds between White, Kristaps, and then Hauser. And it's funny, like you and I were both like, there were two, or no, Tatum, Kristaps, and Hauser, and we were like, the ones by Tatum and Hauser were like, yeah, I don't really love that shot, but they were so hot in the first half, it didn't matter. And then, funny enough, in the third quarter, when the offense actually, like, the criticism of the Celtics offense at times has been that it's stagnant, too much ISO, everything like that. And then they actually got away from that. And then the threes weren't falling. They actually had a stretch for about 8 minutes where they went 0 for 7 from 3.
yeah,
And
and
that's
then
when the Mavs started chipping away at the lead. But
yeah, and then that's when the Celtics called the timeout. This is the second takeaway, and then I'll leave it for these guys. Is I wanted to see their response once Mazzulla called that timeout with 4:27, I think, in the third. Like you said, trimmed it to 8. This is the possession by possession. Tatum attacks the rim, inside out to Kristaps, misses a 3. Tatum offensive rebound, kicks it to Kristaps dunk. JB attacks the rim next play. Lively picks up his 5th foul. Semi-transition 3 for Al. He bricks it, but good shot. And then followed by an inside out JB kick out to Drew on the left wing. He had an open 3, kicks it out once more to Tatum on the top of the key. Wide open 3. Celtics 8-0 run. Just like that, Mavs have to call a timeout to, halt momentum. And that's when the Celtics got back on track, and it really wasn't a game from there.
Yeah, pretty quiet game from Tatum. For any of you that are new, if this is the first time, your first Sellout Sports experience, I'm kind of the old miser. The rest of these guys are Celtics fans. I'm not really a Celtics fan. So I've been critical of Tatum. I thought, the more I've watched these playoffs, though, he makes winning plays. I've kind of realized it's not really about, I don't know. We get stuck in like, oh, you have to be a closer and you have to do that to be a winning player. Like, listen, Tatum might not fit that mold necessarily, but I have gained, respect for him over these playoffs. And even though he was quiet, he did turn the ball over too much, 6 turnovers. Otherwise making winning plays. He hustles, he does get the tough rebounds. And so like he you know, obviously he wasn't the star of the game tonight for the Celtics. I thought Holiday was awesome, Brown was awesome, and obviously Porzingis had a huge first half, and that's a big boost for the team. Jake, your thoughts?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from this game is if the Mavericks are gonna be able to turn around and compete in this series, they're gonna have to kind of let Jason Tatum get going a little more and try to take away the other guys. Like Tori said, JT was making the right plays. Whenever they took away his options trying to score, he was driving to the rim a ton tonight. They made him kick it out to the shooters, and the Celtics were on fire coming out of the gate from three. I think they hit 9 threes in the first quarter. So I think the Mavericks are gonna let Tatum kind of get to his spots a little bit more and force him to kind of beat them in game 2.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because on the flip side, like we kind of commented, we thought the Celtics were like, yeah, we're going to let Luka get his to a certain extent, but he only has 1 assist. The Mavs only had 9 assists the entire night to the Celtics 23.
And Tatum said that after the game, you know, like, how did you limit? He's like, well, you know, a guy like that's going to get his. You just try to stop the other guys. So he's giving you a inside look into the, you know, the mindset of the Celtics right now.
But yeah, just like, you know, that's been the criticism for the Celtics, but it was really the Mavs weren't able to get secondary scoring. Mike, you commented on this the whole game, the shot distribution. You have it up right there, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like obviously Luka and Kyrie are going to get the most shots, but you're getting 26 from Luka, 19 from Kyrie.
This is shots, yeah.
Shots. PJ Washington finishes with 11, but like nobody else really takes any shots.
I feel like he's got to be they at least need a third option to have a shot. Like, you know what I mean? Like Washington's probably got to be the guy that gets more involved, right?
Yeah, I mean they tried to post him up. Jake, what do you think about? I feel like they went away from like their spacing. They were just trying to kind of pick mismatches. Like they posted, I think, Derek White up once, and it seemed like it made their Mavs offense just not flow.
Yeah, I think the Mavericks kind of underestimated our guard play defensively, and Drew Holiday and Derek White. It's said all the time they can guard 1 through 5. Drew Holiday's a little better, but yeah, like you said, the Mavericks had no flow offensively tonight, and I think a big part of that, and I don't know what you guys think. I thought the matchup between Luka and Jaylen Brown was amazing. Brown obviously had a phenomenal night, but I think we're going to see Brown struggle more offensively if he's going to have to carry the load against Luka like that.
Definitely.
And then on the flip side, you know, like the shot distribution by comparison, Celtics had fantastic balance throughout. You know, you see just starting lineup, Tatum, 16 field goals. So like Tatum really he hasn't shot as well historically as he historically has in these playoffs, but again, I've watched him. He's made winning plays, you know. But anyway, 16 shots for Tatum. Then it goes 6 Horford, 9 Holiday. Oh, was it 8 Horford, 9 Holiday. I'm old, guys. White 11, Brown 12. And then
as even as you can get.
And then Porzingis 13 coming off the bench. He only finished with 21 minutes. So like they didn't really wear him down either.
Yeah, besides that first quarter, it was short stretches. It was mostly 3-4 minutes stretches is what I expected.
But we haven't heard from you, Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, so my biggest takeaway was just like the not the bench players, but the secondary players for the Celtics really stepped up in this game, and they didn't step up for the Mavericks at all. Also, they got no help from Kyrie. It was literally just the Luka show tonight. Kyrie finishes with 12 points, and I mean he can't do that throughout this series and expect for them to even have a chance.
And only
Yeah,
I mean, it just wasn't.
He's had those games where he's only put up 10, 12 points, but he was double figures in assists multiple times, like against the Wolves and previous series too. So, but yeah, to your point, like I think Kyrie needs to get pissed. I think he needs to sort of embrace the "I hate Boston" thing. I think the Celtics need to let it go. Boston needs to let it go. But I mean, we talked about that on the podcast. Like you, if you're a pro Kyrie guy, you want him mad at the Celtics. I feel like he would be fueled by that. And then you said it was the Luka show, but honestly, like despite 30 points, I thought Luka looked really sluggish. I thought he was poor defensively. He only had one of those reach around steals, only one of them.
No, I mean what I meant by like the Luka show was just like he was the
scoring wise,
focal.
totally.
Yeah, he was the focal point of everything they were doing. And no one else really stepped up to help him.
But it's
That's
funny,
what I was alluding to.
Yeah, we talked about the long layoff and like, oh, is this going to hurt the Celtics? And it kind of looked like it hurt the Mavs more. It's easy to say that after a game like that, 18-point win. But
to your point, Parker, I was expecting Kyrie. I talked about it on the podcast about his second quarter last series and kind of taking the moment and seizing it and like that veteran championship experience. I was expecting that in the third quarter, and it was just all Luka. I mean, Kyrie traveled. When's the last time you've seen Kyrie Irving travel?
They called back-to-back travels.
Wild.
Yeah, Gafford or Lively, one of them.
Yeah, Lively was amazed that after he took 5 steps that they called a travel. Incredible.
And not long before the travel, or maybe it was before, but but Kyrie dribbled one off his foot. Like, it just didn't look like typical Kyrie at all.
No.
So good balance from the Celtics. Obviously, they got their offense going through, through Tatum and Brown driving and kicking it out. One thing that I noticed, like early on, Hauser getting some minutes for the Celtics. I got to give Mazzulla credit. It's like he's looking at it like, hey, we're going to need these guys if we're going to win. So even though Hauser has been, I don't have the stats in front of me what Hauser's shooting percentage has been, but he got him involved early, and so I give Mazzulla credit as a coach there, especially as a young coach. You could be like, no, I'm going to have a short bench, and he said, nope, I'm going to get Hauser involved. You got to give him credit there.
If memory serves correct, he matched up with Luka like first or second possession, and
he was several times.
He was sticking with him. He was putting his body into him a little bit. Contesting the shots the best you can against.
Got an iffy foul, but he was body.
Yeah, I mean, I think his improvement on the defensive end has allowed Mazzulla to trust him through shooting slumps, where in the past, like, if you're not hitting your threes, there's nothing you can do for me,
Right. See. So yeah, I mean, I think we know the storm is coming for Luka either way. I thought he looked sluggish. I thought he looked like he was laboring getting back on defense. One of Brown's dunks, it was atrocious, like defense from Luka, and then Brown split the two bigs or whatever inside. But yes, just it was good to see, because there was a moment in there, some point in the second quarter, and I said to you, I was like, is this where the Celtics fall asleep? They're up like 18-20. And the offense did look a little stagnant. Everyone's standing around, and Porzingis knocks down 2 jumpers. Like the offense didn't look good at that time. So it was like, at that point, I was like, I could see the Mavs coming back. This is kind of how the Celtics operate, right? But there really never was that letdown. So maybe these Celtics are locked in. We talked all this time about how the Celtics needed to be tested. Don't want to overreact too much to one game, but obviously you got to be encouraged by what you see game 1.
Yeah, again, it just comes down to the mentality for me that third quarter, like they're getting punched back for the first time all night, and then they go straight to the rim. Like, okay, our threes aren't falling. Let's drive and kick, and then create open looks through that, and let's get to the foul. I mean, Jaylen Brown was his normal atrocious self from the foul line, 6 of 11, but just getting there and getting lively fouls and forcing. He picked up his 5th in the third quarter, forcing a different rotation that the Mavs didn't necessarily want to go to. It's more than just the point sometimes.
Well, I don't know. Any closing thoughts from you guys?
I think Kyrie's going to go off in game 2 personally, but
the Celtics.
I agree. I think Kyrie's going to respond with a big game.
Could see that.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with the Mavericks' physicality tonight as an underdog, and especially with the recipe of the past with the Celtics being like, you have to out dog them, you have to out physicality them. I think the Mavericks really, really need to play a lot harder on the hustle end of the floor next game.
That's a great point. I mean, look at that possession early in the first quarter, 2 minutes in, the Celtics had 5 chances. They missed all those threes.
Yeah.
They got 3 offensive rebounds, and Luka missed like
And then
hit
Luka,
out of bounds.
knocked
on
it out. Yeah.
They didn't score on that possession, but like Torrey talked about like Gafford and Lively just offensive rebound like hounds, and how can they counter that? And then the Celtics came out more aggressive, which surprised me.
Yeah, I think White and Holiday were both getting their offensive boards. It was even offensive, but I think it was 10-10 on that.
Yeah, Tatum grabbed a couple. I mean, it was well rounded.
Yeah, it was surprising how we've heard the last 10 days how athletic and physical Dallas is, and then when you look across the stats, rebounding was pretty even. Steals, they had us edged out by 2, but blocks, we dominated 8 more blocks than they had, and they were supposed to be the pogo sticks tonight. So,
well, so this is just our recap of game 1. If you guys want to listen to us, we'll have our podcast, our 2-hour show up. We're on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and iHeartRadio right now. So go find us at most of the places that you can find podcasts, and we will preview game 2 and plenty of other things. We got some WNBA talk coming up. We got what else we got on the budget for that? But anyway, so tune into our podcast as well. We got a website coming soon, and thanks for being here.